Hello students, today we'll be discussing with CUET 2023 paper. Before we start with the paper, please remember that the formulas of all 12th should be by heart, number one. Number two, there are certain topics in the syllabus of CUET which you will have not done in your regular class 12 CBSE courses. So therefore, those points will be taken here as reference points, and I will be giving you the formulas and the relations so that you can recollect them again and again and must be able to solve those questions, right? Thank you. So let's start with the question number one. The question number one is converging lens is used to form image on the screen. Now, we all know that converging lens is the one which form real image, right? Now we are having this as the concept. The image formed on the screen is the real image. He says the lower half is covered with opaque. We all know opaque means through which light cannot pass. Now, if we just move with the general ray diagrams, we find that the ray goes straight and will meet at focus because the converging lens. So this is the reason for the formation of image I of object O. The question says, if I cover this area, we can easily see no light will pass through the lower area. Hence, intensity will be decreased. And second, still the rays are meeting. So therefore, image is formed, right? So we have this as the correct option and the complete image will be formed. So A is correct, C is correct. And if we see the option, we find C is the correct option. I hope it is clear. Let us move to question number two. Now, this is based on your Young's double slit experiment, which states the intensity is directly proportional to square of the amplitude and is also proportional to width of the slit. So in this question, we are given the width of the slit, that is, we are given W1 by W2, which is equal to 4:1. And we know this is equal to A1 by A2 whole square, that is amplitude of the interfering waves. So we have K, which is equal to A1 by A2 comes to be 2 by 1. Now, what is the ratio of intensity I max to I min? Now, we know we have a very simple relation, K plus 1 divided by K minus 1 whole square. So we substitute these values, so you get 2 plus 1, 2 minus 1 whole square. That makes 9 by 1. So we have this C as the right answer. Let us move further with question number third. The chapter belonging is electromagnetic induction. We know the EMF induced is minus d phi by dt. You are given magnetic flux here. So if you differentiate it, we know multiply with the power and reduce the power by 1. So 15 3 the 45, reduce the power by 1. So 3 minus 1 will be 2. Minus 100 into 2 will be equal to 200. Reduce the power by 1, that is t. 40 is constant, so therefore it has no value. So if we put this value of time t is equal to 1 as the question says, so on simplification, you will find that this answer comes to be 155. So that is why we have D as the correct option. Now this question is the one regarding which I was discussing, that is the certain courses which are not in regular CBSE syllabus. So it's the topic of communication system. Now please remember, the range is equal to square root of 2 into height into radius of the earth. Okay, so we are having two antennas A and B, which are having the LOS, right? Now this line of sight is also, you will find in the books, LOS. So LOS is 45.5. So remember, the two ranges will be added, RA plus RB. Now this is given to us 45.5 kilometer, that is multiplied by 3. This will be equal to square root of 2 into 32 into radius of Earth, but which is 6,400 kilometer is converted into meters plus RB. We don't know the height of antenna B. So you have to H radius of Earth square root. Now, if you simplify that by putting the value of radius of Earth 6,400 kilometer, we get the height of B antenna is nearly equal to 50 meter. So therefore, we have 50 meter as the correct answer. Now let us move to the question number 5. The question number 5 is very simple, it will not take more than few seconds. Just keep this word stationary in your brain, and we find stationary means velocity is 0, means the force acting on the charged particle QVB sine theta will also be equal to 0. It will remain stationary, right? So let's move to this question. Now this question is very simple. Of series and parallel of the resistance, you find these two resistances are connected in parallel, and these two resistances are of course again connected in parallel, right? So we know the formula of resistance in parallel. When there are two resistance, you multiply the resistance and add the resistance, right? This is the simplest formula. So resistance in first case will be equal to beta 4 into 12 divided by 4 plus 12, that is equal to 3 ohm. And similarly, you find resistance of second case equal to 2 ohm. Now these two resistances are connected in series. So as they are connected in series, the net resistance will be equal to 3 plus 2. That makes 5 ohm, right? So as you have 5 ohm net resistance, the question says find the value of current in the circuit. So current is Ohm's law, I is equal to V by R. B is 12, that is 5. Simplified, that makes 2.4 ampere, making B as our correct answer. Now let us move to question number 7. Now this is history based question, the history of modern physics. So it has Rutherford, which is giving the nuclear model of atom, Henry Becquerel giving the concept of radioactivity, Niels Bohr giving the concept of hydrogen atom, and the Thomson giving the concept of a plum pudding model. So therefore, if we simplify these, so we find beta A, Rutherford is a nuclear model. So A matching with 1, and you find the best suitable concept is A1, that is Rutherford giving the model of the atom. Fine. So let's move to the next question. Now, this question is again based of the chapter communication system beta. So we have the communication concept, that is modulation index mu. It is the ratio of the message to the carrier. Remember, it's a very simple concept. Modulation, basically you add message signal and the carrier signal, right? So we are having the message signal which is superposed on the carrier wave. So we'll be getting this as a mu. So mu is AM by AC. Now mu is given 70%, that is 70 by 100. The voltage of message is not given. We are given this as 24. Remember, this is a process of modulation, right? So if you simplify this, X comes to be 16.8 volt, and that is why you are having A as the correct answer, right? So I want you people to keep one more thing in mind. See, in this we have 16.8 written twice. Sometimes in hurry, the student mark by mistake this answer. So be cautious. Remember that you have to mark correct answer. Let us move to the question number 9, which is again the reason logical concept. He says a potential difference is applied across the ends of the conductor. It means you are having this as the conductor, and this conductor has potential difference V, which is applied, right? So we know that electric field E exists between, so there is no need to go here and there. So the answer to electric field will be inside the conductor. So A is the correct answer. Now let us move to the concept again, 10th class, sorry, question number 10. Huygens wave theory, it represents the wave concept, not the particle concept, and photoelectric effect is the one which is explained only by particle nature. Of light, right? So as it is explained by particle nature of light, so D is the answer, which could not, which is the correct one, because it cannot be explained by Huygens theory. Let us move to question number 11. Now we are having this as a very small shortcut for the de Broglie relation, which is 1.227 nanometer divided by square root of the accelerating potential. And how much is the energy? That is the accelerating potential. So V naught is equal to 56. Just put this value here. We get wavelength, which is equal to 0.164 nanometer, right? Making this as the correct answer. Let us move to question number 12. We know that, electromagnetic waves are produced by accelerated charges, right? And of course, oscillation or oscillating charges. So we have oscillating electric field and oscillating magnetic field. So the question says the following is not transported by electromagnetic wave. And second, we all know that electromagnetic wave has no charge. So if they carry charge, they must have charge. So they don't have charge. So moving with this, we have C as the correct answer because charge is not carried with. Now question number 13th is involving the concept which you have studied in 10th class also and 12th also, Joule's laws of heating and the power. So we all know that power is proportional to square of the current. So if the value of current is tripled, we can simply say the power will become 9 times. The square of 3 is 9. Let us move further. Again, this is, but now this I will suggest you people all, please revise electromagnetic waves NCRT from NCRT. There is a table which is made, and this is very important question. It has many parameters written, and you're supposed to learn all that is it. It involves sources of electromagnetic waves, the wavelength, how to detect the waves. That's very important. So this question is straight away from that part is a question which involves your remembrance part. So we are having light, that is a visible light, infrared, X-ray and UV rays. You are given the wavelength of them, and again you are supposed to remember the data which is given in NCRT. So straight away, without looking left and right, we have this B as the correct answer because it is the one which tallies to it. And we all otherwise know that the visible light is 400 to 700 nanometer. I believe this we have done in, you will remember as we have done in 10th class. So the range of visible light is 400 to 700 nanometer. So therefore, we have this as the correct answer. Like even if you don't remember them. So first is second, and we have no other option, which is first is second. So therefore, this is the answer. But question number 15 is again from the topic which you people have not studied in 12th class. So there is a junction diode, photodiode. Please keep one point in mind, it is always reverse biased, right? So because it is reverse biased, so we have the characteristic which is drawn in the third quadrant, right? So the additional information which has been provided, and more everyone knows that more is the illumination, more will be the value of current. So therefore, we have B as the correct answer because the more illumination, more intensity, right? The more current. So let us move further. Question number 16. Now this question number 16 is the one which is from the very elementary concept of electrostatic, that is a concept of electrification. So he says the positively charged rod attracts. We know that either there will be attraction of the opposite charge or there may be induction which results in the development of opposite charge. So therefore, the 16th question is the one which involves the concept of C, right? Negatively charged is correct. A is correct, but if you move further, it may be neutral also, because by induction, it will produce opposite charge. Now, question number 17, if we move, this is the question which is involving the chapter moving charges and galvanometer. So, conversion of galvanometer to ammeter. Conversion of galvanometer to ammeter, that's the topic. So, we know that what is the value of shunt resistance, that is equal to galvanometer current for full scale deflection divided by I minus Ig. The second important point which should be kept in mind is this S is connected in parallel. It's very important, because this question involves the same value for series also. So by mistake, the student may mark this answer. So the value of shunt resistance is 5 into 20, then 10 minus 5. So what is S equal to 20 ohm? Now this 20 ohm, as it is written in parallel, see, C option 20 ohm in series है, D option 20 ohm in parallel है, तो आंसर जो है हमारा जो है वो in parallel जो है वो चलेगा. Now this question number 18, if we proceed, it is a one which involves the spectrum of hydrogen. We all know we have Lyman series, Balmer series, if you just quote, we have Lyman series, Balmer series, then we have Paschen series, then we have Brackett series and the Fund series. Right? These are the series which are in this order. So, therefore, we have C as the correct answer, right? Now, this question, 19th question, is the one which is officially again from the topic radioactivity, not studied in class 12 syllabus, but a bit you have studied in chemistry, chemical kinetics, the first order kinetics which you people have studied. So we know the concept of half-life, that is the time to reduce the initial amount to half. So we have a state relation, that is amount which is left upon amount which is taken, that is equal to half raised to the power n. Now n is but a number of half-lives, right? Number of half-lives. A very small point जो हमें जो है वो ध्यान रखना. So the question says the value is reduced to 6.25%. So 6.25% of the value, that is equal to half raised to the power n. Now we simplify, this goes to 16, so that comes n is equal to 4. So as n comes 4, so we have B as the correct answer. B as the correct answer, right? Let's move to 20th question. The formula of this question is very important. Remember, he says the linear magnification of the object into conjugate position of the lens are, like, you have changed the position of convex lens and you find that the linear magnification is, please keep this formula in your mind, that is the focal length is equal to separation between the lenses divided by the difference of the magnifications. So keeping this point in mind, the focal length comes to B. The distance is given to us, which is 40, and this is but a 4 minus 2, which makes focal length 20 centimeter, right? Now he says the question further, the lens is put in water and lens is made up of glass. So we have lens maker formula with us, right? So we use the lens maker formula. So we have it a 1 by f is equal to n minus 1 multiplied by 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So r1 and r2 are the radii of curvature of the two, because it is not given, it's not given in the question. So we believe the lens is equiconvex lens, which is having the same radius of curvature. So as it is having same radius of curvature, so we can directly apply the concept of the focal length in water, focal length in air, which will be equal to refractive index of glass minus 1 divided by refractive index of glass, refractive index of water minus 1. Okay. So if we simplify this by substituting the values, so we get what a focal length in water equal to 80 centimeter. Okay. So we have D as the correct answer. So I believe this question is again clear to everyone. So let's move to the next question. No, but this question again is the one which has small syllabus from additional part from chapter 5, magnetism and matter. That's the concept of angle of dip. So keep one thing in mind, the dip is more at poles. Okay. So एक छोटी सी लाइन बड़ा ध्यान रखनी है हमें कि डिप एंगल जो है वो पोल्स पे जो है वो ज्यादा होता है. तो छोटी सी बात याद करते हैं. लेट्स मूव विद द ज्योग्राफी and it states, if you just see the globe, you find there are certain points like the Britain is near to the poles, so therefore the dip angle will be more in this area, right? So you can just easily see the dip angle will be more in Britain than in India because Britain is more towards the poles. And similarly, the point number D, if you just study, so you have this point again with you. The nearer the poles, the more is the dip angle. So making this D as a correct answer, and therefore A and D are correct. Fine. So let's move further to the next question. Now, wavelength of matter waves, the matter wave means the de Broglie wave, right? Matter wave is the de Broglie waves. So he says the wavelength of matter waves is independent of, the formula lambda is equal to h by p is equal to h by mv. So we can see momentum, mass, velocity सब पे कर रहा है, charge पे नहीं कर रहा. So we have B as the correct answer. Now this 23rd question, again, I just told you people right in the beginning of the chapter discussion that all the formulas should be by heart because you'll be using your knowledge to solve the MCQs. So here we have the three quantities: potential, flux, and intensity variations. So as we all know that the potential जो है point charge का is inversely to first power of the distance. Electric flux is independent of the distance. You remember that like in your 12th class we have revised. If we keep on increasing the radius of the sphere, enclosing charge Q only, the flux will remain the same. Then electric intensity due to point charge, again we know that is proportional to R square, and electric field of dipole is proportional to R cube. So remember these formulas of your chapter 1 and 2. You can easily relate this topic. So you find that electric potential is the one which involves the first power. So making this as the correct answer, right? So let's move further. Now, I don't think so. This is the question which need too much of discussion straight away. The famous Einstein photoelectric equation. Maximum kinetic energy of the electron is the difference of the energy of photon and the work function. Therefore, no second thought, A is the correct answer. Now we have 25th question. Now this 25th question, we all know that, the battery supplies electrical energy and charge is stored on the capacitor. And again, we know that, what is the form of energy stored in capacitor? It's electrical energy. So it's the electrical energy stored in capacitor. A part of energy from the battery is stored in the capacitor and the rest is lost. So how much energy is stored? That is QV. And how much energy is stored in the capacitor? That is equal to QV by 2. So if we simplify, we get half QV as the answer. making C as the correct option. Fine. So let's move further. Now, a wire of length L is carrying current 1 ampere or I ampere is bent in the form of a circle. So you have L length of wire which is bent in the form of a circle of radius R. So it means the length will be equal to circumference, making radius L upon 2 pi. I hope I have made myself clear. The radius will be equal to L upon 2m. Now what is area of the circle? That is pi r square. And what is magnetic moment beta? That is the product of current into area. Sorry, I put square. It is current into area. So what will be the answer here, beta? That will be equal to I pi. R is L square upon 4 pi square. So if we just simplify, I L square by 4 pi is the correct answer. Now this 27th question is the one, right? 27th question is the one which is again from the topic, but you have not studied in regular class 12th, at the concept of radioactivity. So in radioactivity, we have studied but various type of decays, alpha, beta, gamma. Gamma is of two types, plus and minus. So beta is electrons, beta minus is electrons. So the distribution of kinetic energy of electrons during beta decay. Remember, like there are certain particles which are having zero kinetic energy, and there are certain particles which are having almost no kinetic energy, right? So we are having a graph, typical graph, and that is the C1, which we will have to remember. Let us move to the last question. Sorry, the 28th question. Now this question is Q is equal to 1 coulomb, and the favorite formula of all the students, the first formula of your chapter, of your syllabus, the first class of physics जब आपने पढ़ी थी electrostatics, तो आपकी टीचर ने आपको पहला फॉर्मूला जो Q is equal to plus minus Ne जो लिखवाया था. You are given charge 1 coulomb. Now number of electrons required, so 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19. Now if we simplify, that comes to be 6.25 into 10 raised to the power 18. Now here again there is a concern. Please quote this point in mind that the first option is minus 18. First option is minus 18 and the second option is plus 18. So don't do in hurry a mistake for the question which should be 100% correct. So that is the case, right? So we have second as the case, then it passes through the channel. So we just work out on these three, you find very simply that D is the correct answer, right? So let's proceed further. Now this question is, my dear, this is a very good question, but like most of the students spend a lot of time in solving this question. Most of the students spend a lot of time in solving this question, and as a result, a lot of time is also consumed. Now, this question is the one which involves number of things which we people have generalized in class 12th, chapter number 1st and 2nd. Electric field is a vector quantity, whereas electrostatic potential is a scalar quantity. So electrostatic potential is a scalar quantity. Now he says, we are having few options. If you just read these options, the net field is at A is 8K along OU, that's the first one. Electric field at O will be 0 if charges are of same magnitude and sign. Now we just recollect our class 12th, this point, this point is the one which has some link with us. Then he says the potential at all the points on the line AB is same, potential at all points on CD is same, and potential at center is 0. Now, but if we just look at the charges, right, I'm giving you the concept how to solve or how to get correct answer without getting it solved, right? So you find that the charges P and S are equal and opposite, minus P and plus Q. Again, T and Q are minus P plus Q, minus 3Q at U, and R is 3Q. So we find that the charges are equal and opposite, right? Because charges are equal and opposite, therefore potential at the center is 0, right? Potential at center is 0. It means the E is the correct option. E is the correct option. Now let us move further. We find that because the charges are forming pairs of equal and opposite charges, therefore they form dipole. So because they are forming dipole, so we find that the electric potential on the line AB will be same. In case of dipole, we know that they will be having AB line, the potential will be same. So D is the correct answer, incorrect answer. C is the correct answer, right? Then B, we know that if the charges are same, electric field is a vector quantity. If charges are same and they have same magnitude also, so electric field will be 0. So it means B is also correct. So without going to the A part which need calculation, we find B, C, E are correct. So B, C, E are correct in only one option, that is D. So we have D as the correct answer, right? Remember that the teacher wants smart answer. That is why MCQs must be solved in a proper way, right? So let's move to question number 35. Now this is the question which is associated with the practical part, right? So you have studied in your practical, the practical of AC mains using sonometer. So the frequency, as we know that this frequency is found to be double the frequency of it. So let's keep this as a direct answer. Now then he says two sources are producing. Now this is a question of your wave optics, Young's double slit experiment. So we know that two sources are coherent if they have same frequency and same phase. So therefore we are having direct C as the correct answer. Velocity, wavelength, and all these may vary, but the point is, more important is, they should have the same phase difference. Now let us move further. Now that's question number 37. Now it says a battery is connected to combination of resistors, right? The potential difference is to be calculated. So potential difference is to be calculated, and we know that, in case of the series combination, the current will remain the same, but the total potential will be half on each. So because the potential will be divided, right? So potential will be divided, but current will remain the same. So C is the correct answer. Let us move to this particular question 38. Again, but this is the question which is directly from electromagnetic waves, and it is very much clear that the speed of electromagnetic wave is equal to speed of electromagnetic wave in vacuum divided by the relative permeability and relative permittivity of this medium. So now all points are clear. Speed is 3 into 10 is power 8. You divide this with 2.25 into 4. So 2.25 into 4 is 9. 9 square root 3. 3 goes. So we have C as the correct answer, 10 raised to power 8. Right? Let us move further. Now this question is again associated with your Lensmaker formula. So we all know that 1 by F is equal to refractive index minus 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Now the question says the radii of curvature of double convex lens of focal length 12 centimeter. So 1 by 12. Refractive index is 1.5 minus 1. Because it's a convex lens, the first radius will be positive, which is given to us 10. Second radius will be negative, hence it will be plus P. So if we simplify this, so we get 15 centimeter as the answer. We can simplify it, right? Let's move to further. Now this question is based for your alternating current. We have studied resistance, we have studied capacitance, we have studied inductive reactance, capacitive reactance, impedance and all. Again, this is the question which has so many statements. So without unnecessarily wasting time, right? Without unnecessarily wasting time, we'll just work it on the smart way. So we are having current on y-axis and the frequency or angular frequency on the x-axis. But if you just see graph plot A, so you have very important concept finding, that is frequency has no effect on the current. The point is frequency has no effect on the current. Because frequency has no effect on the current, so it means A should be resistance, right? A should be resistance, right? So I hope I can write now A is the resistance. Then, but if you see the graph, you again find the relations for the currents and all. So we find that at the value called resonance frequency, the phase difference is 0. You find this is the correct answer. The phase difference between current and voltage is 0, right? Then we find A as the resistance. Okay. Now you can see the graph. As frequency increases, there is the decrease in the value of current, right? As frequency is increasing, there is decrease in the value of the current. So therefore, we find this as the most suitable concept and C is the correct answer, right? C is the correct answer for this point, right? The fifth is very important point, जो मैं follow कर. Now, let us proceed further. A metal foil of negligible thickness is introduced between the two plates of parallel plate capacitor. So he says what is the effect on the capacitance. But it's very simple concern. The concern is this word, negligible thickness. Because it is negligible thickness, is not going to affect capacitance, right? So therefore, there is no change in the capacitance. The answer will remain A, that is capacitance. Then essential condition for TIR. Now, as we all know that for critical angle to take place, for total internal reflection to take place, angle of incidence should be greater than critical angle. So this directly we can put A option, correct one. Now again, this question number 43 is based for the relations of chapter 5, moving charge, magnetism and matter. So we know the fifth option is in 43rd part. Relative permeability is 1 plus chi m, that is B option is the one which is correct. Then we have the more important relation which goes with the same relations. So the C, B is equal to mu naught H plus M. That also makes the answer correct. So but B and C are correct. Now we know H is not equal to this, right? So mu naught is B naught upon H. So we have this as the answer. So B, C, E are correct. So B, C, E are correct. It means C is the correct answer. Now this question is again the pattern question which we have just worked it on. For the half-life, the formula will remain the same. N by N naught is equal to half raised to the power N. So the question says 1 by 16th of the initial value. But 1 by 16th of the initial value is equal to 1 by 2 raised to the power N. So but N will be equal to 4. Right? So N is equal to 4, which can be now easily evaluative. So you have the value 4 is equal to 2 by the half-life. Right? So what is half-life of the substance? Half-life will be 2 by 4, which is equal to a half hour, which is equal to 30 minutes. So proceeding for the case, again, as we have discussed, we got this answer. Now, 45th question, I believe this is the most simplest type of semiconductor. The forward bias is increased, the width of depletion layer will decrease. So direct application of the concept. Now, we are having the question. He says the current flowing through the inductor is continuously increasing. The correct graph showing variation of induced EMF E is equal to L. But if you take the magnitude L into di by dt, this we have studied. Phi is equal to Li, and this as a case. So as it is increasing constantly, right? Is increasing constantly. So we find again the point that is the correct answer, right? Because di is constant. 47th, which of the following statement describe the temperature dependence or resistance of copper and silicon? Again, this is a question linked with your semiconductor and current electricity. But a copper is metal, and when you increase the temperature, its resistance is found to increase, right? So it increases for copper and decreases for silicon. So it means the D is the correct answer, right? Then for the case, a student has drawn the following courses of rays through prism, the one which represent the position of minimum deviation. So, but a position of minimum deviation, if we just simply work it on, so we find the very important line, that is, if this is the prism, this is the ray of light incident, we find this ray which is inside the prism is parallel to the base. This is very important point because we know this is for the minimum deviation. So if we are having minimum deviation case, so C is the correct answer, right? Then we have moved to the question number 29th. Now this question is the one which involves very smart calculation. You are having equilateral triangle. The charges are Q, minus 2Q and 4Q, which are lying at these points, right? She says potential energy. Let's label the points. But A, this is B, and this is C. So if I say what is the potential energy of the system, so we know potential energy will be system of AB plus system of BC plus system of AC. And what is the formula for the potential energy of the system? That is equal to K Q1 Q2 by R. So if you simplify using this value, so take sign into consideration. I'm repeating it again. Please take sign into consideration. So we'll be having the answer, which is minus 27 joule. Just substitute and add algebra. Then question number 50th, that is based on electromagnetic induction. The self-inductance, as we know, is directly proportional to area per unit length of the solenoid, right? So it means the L है self-inductance proportional to pi r square upon length. Now the question says the length and radii are in the ratio 1:3. So beta L1 by L2 will be equal to R1 by R2 whole square into L2 by L1, right? So we have this coming to B answer 1/3, right? So there are few questions which need bit of more calculation. Rest all calculations we can find that they are either smart based calculations or the calculations which require general understanding of the topic, right?